Good evening, and welcome back to the next instalment in the Burning Blaze adventure. Last week saw our intrepid heroes scaling Kelvin's cairn, making their way up the mountain, and being ambushed by a pack of Remorhaz after a fairly swift but brutal and rather at times dire battle. They were able to fell the Remorhaz, but not before Gortrek Doomfist was slain by the larger Remorhaz, crushed in its jaws, his armour buckling as its mandibles and teeth crunched around him. Grishnak was able to deliver the finishing blow to the Remorhaz. Well, he went 3 for 3 on them actually. A bit of a kill stealer, but we won't linger on that. Finally, killing the last of the beasts. The heroes were a little bit of a loss as to how to help their fallen friend. None of them had the spells required to revive him, nor did they have the diamond that would be necessary. Rogar, in reaching out to his god, in asking, what, if anything, could they do, got no answer, just felt a gentle hand pushing him onwards further up the mountain towards Torvuth's lair, which they could see not far off up the peak. So, with heavy hearts, they loaded Gortrek onto a stretcher, carried on up the mountain. Reaching this cave entrance, this cavernous entrance, they were surprised to find that inside, rather than it just being a typical rough stone cave walls, they found inside a large entrance hall of dwarven make, though very, very old by the looks of it, and looked like it hadn't been inhabited for a long time, judging by the drifts of snow that had blown in and the ice that coated many of the walls. At the end of the chamber, a tall human female, with flowing silver hair, grey silverish robes, and eyes like orbs of mercury, descended down a large flight of stairs, told you to lay your fallen comrade on the ground, sent Calabray off to a large chamber teeming with treasures, both gold but also artefacts, where he recovered a diamond the size of his fist on this figure's instructions. Bringing it back, she began casting the spell to raise Gortrek from the dead. Some of you contributing to the ritual in little ways, reaching out, trying to help pull his spirit back from the other side. And ultimately, you were successful. Gortrek, on the brink of passing over, as he saw his afterlife before him, felt the presence of Moradin, the All-Father of Dwarfs, found himself being pushed back, told that it was not his time. So his spirit returned to his body, where he suddenly came to life, gasping on the hard stone floor of this chamber. And that is where we'll pick up. Gortrek, you've just, your eyes snapping back awake, taking a huge gulping gasp of breath. Everything hurts. You've known pain. You've never quite known a feeling like this, where every single bone in your body, every nerve ending screaming at you for a moment. But it does begin to abate after a few seconds. The rest of you stood around watching this miracle take place. I don't believe any of you have ever actually seen somebody be resurrected before. It's quite a spectacle in a macabre, sombre way, as the figure, the lady, slowly rises to her feet with a fluid kind of grace, but with also a sense of almost a slight awkwardness at the same time. Slightly, it's a little bit uncanny valley the way she moves. It's not quite how humans move, but there is a grace to it, if that makes sense. She brushes the dust off of her knees, brushing down her dress, and Looks around to all of you. Well, I believe introductions are in order. Who are you all?
Rogar will drop to one knee and bow his head as deeply as he can.
Her eyes do suddenly narrow a little bit upon seeing you. As she looks down at you, kind of almost a look of surprise, almost. Where's the bits? And she does kind of. She looks almost taken aback. She goes, Aldagar? No, it cannot be. Speak you. What is your name?
My lady, I am Rogar Grimfrost.
Of course. You have your great-grandfather's look to you. It's uncanny. Rise, Rogar. You do not need to debase yourself before me.
Thank you, my lady. Thank you for saving our friend.
It is nothing. I am bound to help those in need, those of good heart. And your companions?
I would just gesture to everyone to introduce themselves, I guess. I'm Grishnak. Nice to meet you.
It is a pleasure. That was well fought out there. Remorhaz is a fearsome beast.
Yeah, they're pretty hard, ain't they? Thanks for sorting out Gotrek.
I am sorry I could not do more. It is painful to watch sometimes, but it must be so.
He just nods, and then that's it.
She turns, looks to you, Cal. And what of you? You seem a little out of place in this environment.
I'm Calibre Doomfist, and this here, and I'll punch Gotrek. This here is my birthday Gotrek, who's never gonna do that again. He's never, ever.
Oh, I'm still a little tender.
She looks distant for a moment. Doomfist. I do not know the name, but you are welcome in these halls. They are, after all, maybe not of your ancestors, but... And she turns to look at you now, Ruri. You have a celestial light about you.
Rory is trying to subtly wipe the tears from his eyes from when he thought Godric was dead. Yes, I do, yes. My name is, Rory. Thank you so much for, helping Godric.
Like I said, it is... I am bound to help those in need.
Well, as am I, so it's lovely to meet.
And you.
Me? Oh. I'm Gotrek Doomfist. Pleasure, and thank you for saving my life. Oh!
It's quite okay, and she just gently pushes you back down. Rest. Do not exert yourself. You have been through an ordeal. It will take time for your strength to return.
Okay.
Although, maybe we should relocate to more comfortable chambers, but... Rogar, why are you here? I do not object, but it has been... I'm surprised to see a Grimfrost after so long.
My lady, I was I was told to come here by Lord Bahamut on a quest to, and I'll just gesture at the eggs. To, kind of not sure what to say. Like,
She seems a bit. There's a reverential look when you mention Bahamut. She's like, Lord Bahamut. I see. She looks over the eggs, and almost seeing them for the first time, like truly noticing them for the first time, she seems a little bit taken aback for a moment. Those, you bring chromatic eggs to me? Why would... Please explain.
Bahamut believes that if the eggs can be kept in this form and unhatched, that perhaps when it kind of swallows before saying the name, perhaps when Tiamat is defeated, the hold over them that she has will be broken. We did not feel right destroying young for something that they have not yet done, for crimes they have not yet committed. And Lord Bahamut seems to feel the same way. We did not know what to do with them, so he directed us to bring them to you.
She nods slowly and begins to walk over to the eggs, kind of stands about 5 feet from them, just staring at them. It is not the first time that Lord Bahamut has put forward such a notion. Never have we been in a position where we might test it. You believe you seek to defeat Tiamat? Such a thing has never been done.
We seek to stop the dragon cult, and from there, I do not know. We will do what we can.
She shakes her head a little bit. I am aware of the rumblings in the south. All the dragon kind speaks of it, but simply preventing the dragon cult from whatever plan they have hatched is not enough. Bahamut knows this. I fear he expects this to go further. That is the only way her influence could be removed from this world. It is not enough simply to strike at her worshippers or even at her avatar, but at Tiamat herself. And as I say, such a thing has never been done.
If that is what must be done, I will see it done.
She turns back at you, and there's a small smirk. It's not smirk. It's a kind smile, although there is a hint of sorrow to it. You do sound like your great-grandfather. He never said anything he did not mean to see through.
What do I know about my great-grandfather?
Not a lot. You know that he was the first. Obviously, it wasn't the first Grimfrost, but he was the first Grimfrost to hold a position of honour in Bryn Shander. He was not Speaker at any point, but you know that he founded the Hand. He was also integral in their war against Frost Giants many years ago. Your grandfather now, how far are we going back here? We're going back about 80 or so years.
Okay.
About that. Yes, he's spoken of quite reverentially. He is what the men of your family have, what your grandfather and your father have, they kind of modelled themselves on. But yeah, a lot of what the Grimfrosts are now, and even part of what Bryn Shander is now, was started by your grandfather. Sorry, your great-grandfather.
Okay. You honour me, my lady.
You must understand. If it was down to me, I would destroy these eggs now and have done with it. But while I cannot quite understand your viewpoint and reluctance in that regard, I do not ask that you understand mine. My history with the chromatics is not the same as yours. Where you see a life that has not yet had the chance to do evil, I simply see a future where these beings could kill more of my family, of my clan.
I understand.
But if it is Bahamut's will, he has put his faith in you. And we shall see what comes of this. Very well, I accept his charge. There is a chamber where they may be kept. It is further up in this complex. It is a very cold place. I will not ask you to go there personally. Particularly you, and she gestures to the rest of you who aren't a white dragonborn. The temperature would kill you within moments. But these eggs, they should be... They will be inanimate. It should keep them indefinitely. Come then, let me find you chambers. You will need to rest, at least for tonight, before returning. Your friend especially, he is not fit to travel in his current state.
Thank you, my lady.
She starts walking back towards the staircase and gestures for all of you to follow her. The staircase, like I said, the staircases they're quite wide, quite large, and the doors leading off of them themselves are quite big, so they are big enough for your mounts to come with.
Oh, good.
The goats could probably be okay in this chamber, but you can see Moonin is visibly shivering. It is... This hallway is open to the mountainside. It is freezing in here.
Will my ring fit on his toe?
No.
He's got a huff, hasn't he?
On his hoof, yeah.
Why don't you
Krishna
stick it on
just
top of
picked
his
him
ear?
up.
I can't believe I had to think about that for a second. Would it? No.
Okay.
Hold on, does the ring not grow to its necessary size to go on like a magic ring?
I think it's the kind of thing where it would slightly shrink if your finger was too small, but you've got to get it onto the... Like, it doesn't know what size to grow to unless you could get it on them, kind of thing.
I can't tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking.
I
It's
know
fine.
exactly what you're thinking.
Grishnat's just going to pick Moonin up and he'll tuck him underneath his bear cloak and just be like, come on then, let us get you sorted.
So cute.
As she heads up the stairs, leave the eggs. I will see to them later. And as she walks up the staircase, where it splits, one going left, one going right, Cal, previously she sent you off to the left and a corridor that wound up further into the mountain. This time she goes right, leads you on. You all follow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotrek, you're
Hobbling.
You are finding
I'll...
it on top of the physical exhaustion and just the general ache and pain. You do notice, with probably a pang of pain greater than the physical ones you're currently feeling, where the mandibles crunched in on you, your pauldrons and some of the plating around your hips and thighs have been damaged. The armour is not ruined, but it's going to need a bit of repairing. And until it does, you're going to have disadvantage on any dexterity-based check, as it's hindering your movement. It's basically, you've got plates pushing in on your shoulder joints, as well as pushing in on your hips. So moving it, you can feel bits grinding together where normally they should be smoothly moving freely.
Okay. No,
So it's you're extra hobbling.
extra hobbly.
Extra hobbly as you try and make it up the staircase. Leading you up to the right, then through doorways it comes into again like a larger chamber. Godric and Cal, you'd recognise this as being something of a reception hall, as well as a bit of a terminus. Mithril Hall has similar chambers. And from there she then leads you through another corridor that begins downwards. And you feel that you're now descending down further into the mountain. The temperature does increase as you head down, in part due to some of the large torches and braziers, rather, on the wall that flare into light. Actually, I had a thing for this. I completely forgot. Just a little bit of mood setting. Obviously, this isn't the corridor you're in right now, but this gives you a general sense of the architecture of the place that you're in. She gestures with her hands as you walk down this corridor and the braziers burst into life, which helps. But you also feel the further you go into the mountain, the more insulated you are from the cold outside. So the chambers begin to heat and warm. And finally you come down into a larger chamber that looks... The purpose of this seems to have been more living quarters, although not used seemingly by anyone in... If you're any judge, in possibly about a millennia. Particularly based on any... Godric in particular, you're quite good at recognising stonework. I think you've both got stone cunning, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you would recognise this is the style of architecture, the age of you get a sense of the age of the carvings based on how much they've eroded and been worn over the years. This reminds you of some of the oldest parts of Mithril Hall. Some of the original... Mithril Hall is a bit of a mishmash from when it was reclaimed. A lot of places were renovated, were added to. But in some places, the original stonework it remains. And this is more... seems comparative with that. This is an ancient place that hasn't seen use for a long, long time. And from here, several smaller chambers, she gestures to branch off, that appear to be, they have beds, although, again, they are basic kind of stone slabs. Again, think a lot, if you've played Skyrim, it's kind of like Macarth, and a lot of the accommodations there. You're going to need your own blankets for these. It looks like whoever built this place took all of the furnishings with them when they left. Well, if you need to rest, food I have. I may be able to provide some. You are okay with meat? But
I think so. Oh.
In fact, are any of you skilled with... Can any of you cook?
I dabble.
Her eyes do brighten a little bit. Do you think maybe you could prepare something for all of us?
I mean, I do confess it's been a while since I've prepared a banquet, but I could give it a shot.
It does not need to be a banquet, just... I tire of eating the same meal over and over again. It has been so long. I would like anything that is... anything for a change. This is a bit different.
Well, I could go get those Remorhaz if you wanted. Don't know how to taste though.
In truth, I have subsisted on creatures such as Remorhaz for far too long. Thank you. They are not... I do not think you would find them all that palatable. I have meats, mostly... She does look a little awkwardly. You guys... Mostly, goat.
I cover Ramsey's ears.
But I have some other creatures. I believe I have some caribou, if that would be preferable.
Let's go for that.
If there's anything, if you have such things as herbs or spices even, that would be wonderful. There's a genuine sense of, like, there is hunger in her eyes.
Bless her. Where's Oscar when you... Okay. I will, so I'll take out some bits from my components. I'll get, like, a sprig of holly and, like, some sweet oil that I use for spells, and just use that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll make tea as well.
I will offer my Drake wine. I don't know if this will help.
Oh, amazing. I can make such a good jus from that, Rogar.
Have we given her the tapestry yet?
No.
She does, being offered the Drake wine. She's like, oh, my, this is... Yes, thank you. As I say, it has been so long. In fact, I think the last time I did drink any of this was with Aragar. This is fitting. She gladly takes and tries to... He kind of grabs it... grabs it eagerly and goes to take a swig, but kind of remembers herself and kind of tries to delicately take a large swig. Kind of savours it for a moment.
Do we have any glasses?
Oh, I'll give him a chalice.
You got a Pim's cup.
But no, having taken a swig, she hands the bottle back to you. Well, look, if you get yourself comfortable, Uri, it was. I can show you. There is a kitchen, a little down the corridor. I will go deal with the eggs. I can show you the kitchen on the way there. The rest of you, please, relax, make yourselves comfortable. Like I say, I'll deal with the eggs and then I'll return and we can talk more. I'm sure you have questions. Come, Uri. So she gestures and sweeps you out of the chamber. Takes you a little way down the corridor. Go off down a side route. It's a little bit maze-like in here, but thankfully you're not going too far. Takes you down a left and then left again into a fairly large kitchen. Again, very unused, but you know there's ovens. There's not, looking around, there isn't any kind of tinder or fuel for any kind of fire.
Fire, you say?
No. I will prestidigitate a fire.
No, I was just going to offer you my tinderbox.
What are you burning though?
So what I can do is I can use the tinder from the tinderbox, but for added flair, I can just like put it in a grate and then just prestidigitate it on fire.
Yeah, no, I'll allow it. You managed to. You can use prestidigitation to maintain a small flame, which is, I'd say it's enough to work with. She leaves you there as she disappears off to deal with the eggs. So yeah, those of you left in the living quarters, you are free to your own devices for the moment. If there's anything you wish to do or anything you wish to discuss.
Godric will doff his armour.
It's not easy. There's a few bits where it is pressing in on you. So it takes you a little bit longer than usual. Although, if the others want to assist, that'll...
Yeah, I can probably help, like, bend the plates back or something to...
I was going to say, could I use mending to get them back to normal?
Mending will help a bit. This is going to need a little bit of forge work.
With my hands a little bit warm.
It's what you feel, Cal, is there is an inherent magic woven into this armor that Gortrick had to imbue when he was making it. what that does mean, and this is not something unique to Dwarven armor, it's something that is common for a lot of magical items, is it does somewhat resist the cantrip. But you're able to help a bit. It helps ease the removal. But yeah, it's still going to need a little bit of work from you, Gotrek, to get this up to
Back up to snuff.
back to new. Yeah. No, you're able to get your armor off.
Awesome.
Rogar's got to doff his armor and everything, all of his like kit, and get his nice nobleman's clothes on.
Ooh. Fancy.
Get all dressed up. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to do?
No, I'm just gonna take off my cloak and sort of lay down Moonin on top of it in like a corner somewhere.
I would say as well, yeah, Moonin's fine. Moonin came through that whole ordeal unscathed. Butthead is also mostly unharmed. Ramsey and Sif are looking a bit worse for wear. They're not looking their best. And I'd say Ramsey in particular is just, as well as looking physically quite beaten up. Obviously they were healed a bit, but they still bear some of their wounds. They don't look overly happy.
He's with me in the kitchen. She's with me in the
She
kitchen.
came into the kitchen, did she?
Yeah. She sat there while I'm.
Okay. She's quite keen to get closer to the heat.
Are you cooking goat in front of
No, I'm cooking caribou.
Really, caribou, you?
caribou?
Oh god, I shouldn't have. So, Ruri, do me. Now, you don't have cooking tools. Well, I'd say you don't need cooking tools right now because the kitchen is. You're able to find bits and pieces while looking around. Do me an investigation check,
Yeah.
and this will determine how much you're like rummaging around, how much you're able to find that was left here. Okay, so that's not. It's not going to make the DC for cooking a meal any lower, but it's not going to make it any higher either. You're able to find some of the basics that you'd need. Cooking tools. Just do me a straight. I'm going to say just a straight wisdom.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, you know that you're not a particularly accomplished cook. It's
No, I just used to make the salad.
yeah. It's not you dabbled in, but when you're done, it's like you're quite aware that you've certainly not created any kind of masterpiece, not by any means, but you're actually quite happy with how it's turned out. You've marinated the meats, tried to give it more flavour. It's cut a bit roughly, but you've not burnt it. You don't think you.
So I've got sweet oil and honeycomb, so I guess I'm going for like a teriyaki caribou.
Yeah, and it definitely smells good. You taste a little bit, and it seems fine. It doesn't look pretty. It's not blowing your mind in terms of flavour, but it's yeah. This is what you're going for. Seems
Okay,
seems
before I
fine.
take it out, I'm going to prestidigitate it to make it taste better.
Ooh, cunning. Okay, give it an extra boost of
Yeah.
flavour. Kind of
Yes,
enhance
please. It's
it a
like
little
when
bit.
you're on The Sims, you know?
So he's prestidigitate the D&D version of MSG.
Essentially, yes.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So the
can't-
food just sort of glitters as I serve it.
just want to eat more. So after a little while, by the time that you're finished here, she does return, the figure. Torvuth. I don't think she actually properly introduced herself, but you have assumed. You are correct. Returns to the chamber where all of you have smartened up a little bit. You've seen to your various creatures. And she gestures, "Come, please." Gesturing through off to another side with a large stone table laid out into what you assume would have been a dining hall. And beckons you all to come in, Ruri, about the time that you are finished. So yeah, laying out the food, and she seems, her eyes light up at this. She seems very excited by the idea of a meal, by eating more than simply just hunks of meat. She beckons all of you to come join, to sit. Well, I must say, this seems quite, it smells fantastic.
Thank you. Well, I did my best. I hope I didn't make too much of a mess in your kitchen. I made a big mess. Big mess.
It is fine. I never use it anyway. I have no skill with such things myself, and I never have access to such ingredients to do something like this. I grow so weary of the monotony of just eating goat and caribou day in, day out, but do what we must.
Have you ever tried a vegetable?
Yes, of course, I have in vegetables time to time, but as you can imagine, not much grows up here.
Well, yes, of course, arid vegetable.
I don't really get the opportunity to leave very often. Still, that is not important. So tell me, she begins to eat, of your struggles against the cult. I hear rumours, I hear murmurings, but what occurs in the lands to the south?
I just look over at Rory, like, killed a dragon.
Well,
You killed a
did
dragon,
manage. No, we killed a dragon. I just happened to finish it off, and I'll do a finger gun.
I see. This was where you got the eggs?
No, well, so it's a long story. Basically, we saved a town called Greenest from the cult. We followed the cult to their hideout. We nearly died, and then we went back to their hideout and we stole the eggs.
I see. The dragon you slew, it was
blue.
This is a blue dragon, I see. Well, it is impressive. Blue dragons, they are not so easily felled. They can be a cunning enemy. Not so much as greens, but just pray you never have to go up against one of them, huh? And she chuckles a little bit. Yes, you see, everyone fears the Reds. Not without reason. The Reds are fearsome. She seems almost to not notice your reaction. She's quite involved both in... Most of her attention is on the food right now. You can tell she's obviously got a big appetite, but she's trying to eat slowly, trying to savour this. But she's also quite... As she talks, it's almost got a sense of she's not quite aware of who she's talking to, if that makes sense. She seems to get a little bit lost in the discussion. You see, everybody fears the Reds, and they are mighty creatures to be sure, but Greens, they are cunning. We lost far more of our numbers in the wars to Greens than we did to Reds. Far more.
Shit.
Rory chokes on his food.
Did I say something wrong? Are you...
No, sorry. Sorry.
We have encountered a green before.
Aye, and I think, didn't that old lady say that she really doesn't like us, more specifically me.
I'm sorry, an old lady does not like you?
No, the old lady, fortune teller lady, told us about our futures, hand gesture, futures. And she pointed out that I have a habit of pissing people off.
I mean, it's not like you shouted your name at the dragon cult or anything.
No, I didn't do that, did I? No, of course not. That would have been too stupid.
You said you have encountered a green,
I
and but
She
you
flew
did not.
away.
You did not kill it.
I know. She got away quite hurt though. What was her name again? Venom Fang?
Fang.
Aye.
I'm afraid the name means nothing to me. I do not
Aye.
know of such a green, but my friend, you must understand. Nothing in this world can hold a grudge like a dragon. And I should know.
Can I insight that?
Oh, you can, yeah.
What I was just going to
you-
literally ask.
Yeah, hell. What are you
I wanna know.
necessarily
No matter what
trying
he
to
wants
determine?
to do.
Because, like, I'm trying to determine, because obviously we've had suspicions, I want to determine if she is, in fact, a big dragon lady.
I would say based on everything you've seen from her so far, because you have to remember as well, Bahamut just told you to go meet with Torvuth. Rathar, well, you weren't privy to that conversation either, actually, referred to Torvuth as being the protector. No one has ever actually directly referred to Torvuth as being a dragon. Based on everything you've seen of her, the uncanny awkwardness, kind of graceful awkwardness with which she moves, the magical power she seems to wield, her comments about dragons, her reverence to Bahamut, and even watching her eat, the way she's trying to savor this, but you can tell that she actually this is someone who has an appetite that far outstrips a simple meal like this. It all starts to click into place. Obviously, she has yet to state it or show definitively, but you do feel confident now that this is not just a human worshipper of Bahamut. You do suddenly realise that you are in the presence of a dragon, albeit one in human form.
His eyes go like the size of dinner plates, and he just like takes a moment staring up into space.
But yes, we fought the green long before getting involved with the dragon cult.
I see. Well, looks to you, Gotrek. Stay alert. Keep your wits about you. Dragons, all dragons. We are proud creatures. We do not take well to slights. Some, particularly the chromatics, less than others. I can promise
Everyone else
you.
heard that, right?
Yeah. I can promise you that from the moment of you defeating this dragon, from the moment it escaped, it will have been plotting your downfall. Its revenge against you. You must understand, it has been insulted.
I gathered as much.
It will not simply seek your life, it will seek to destroy you. You made yourself a powerful enemy, my friend. Well,
I
probably
it
all of...
fucking started it.
I have no doubt. And its vengeance will probably not be limited to just you if all of you fought and defeated this creature. But if you truly mean to take on not only the cult, but Tiamat herself, well... There's not the last dragon you will make an enemy of.
I believe we're shaking up the hornet's nest.
Quite.
Eh. I think it might be time, lads, for a bit of a walk home to get ourselves rearmed and resituated to go back out again, I think.
To Phandalin?
Aye, if everyone's up for it, we might need to go back for a while, just to a couple of days at least.
But while we're there, are we not painting a large target on Vandalin?
I perhaps maybe sneaking our way there. Well, let's be honest, they probably know about Phandalin already.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
So-
to be honest, there could already be a target on Phandalin.
Agreed.
And I think it might be best to go back, have a look, make sure everything is still in one piece.
Make sure that the militia's prepared for anything.
Aye.
I have not had dealings with the dragon cult for a long time now. But your friend speaks true. If you have made an enemy of them, as you say, they had probably already looked into wherever you call home. It is the way of such organizations. That said, the cult now is not the cult that I fought against in my youth. Well, I call it my youth. It is relative. I must say, I am a little surprised. It is, in some ways, feels like only yesterday that your great-grandfather, was last here. But I know in truth it has been generations for your people.
I do not know much of my great-grandfather. What would he come to see you about?
Guidance at times, although we often argued on that matter. We did not quite see eye to eye. Your family have not just your family, but your people, they have a fascination with Lendis that I'm sorry, I do not mean to insult, but his way is not my way.
Believe me, I know all too well. I found myself feeling the same thing even before I left Renshanda.
But of course, Lendis has never been a factor in your life.
Indeed not. So you are aware of his situation?
I believe all dragons are, at least those of us who possess a modicum of connection with our heritage. It was felt when his presence faded from the world. That is his hubris. He wanted it all. He lost everything. Still, let's not dwell on such morose subjects. No, your great-grandfather, he came often for guidance to discuss sometimes the course of action going forward for your people, for your home. Also sometimes simply to discuss philosophy, but mostly it was observing and how to say this without sounding so arrogant. Paying respects to ensure that the compact was maintained.
The what, sorry?
the compact, the protection that I offer your people, the people of Icewind Dale, even your kin, gesturing to Gotrek and Cal. Though sometimes I feel they could do just as well without me. That's another story.
Has my father ever been to see you?
And no, this is why I find it so odd that the first time a Grimfrost comes to see me in, what is it now, 6, 7 decades, and your business is not that of Icewind Dale's, not of Bryn Shanda's, but your own. In fact, the last of your line that came to see me was not strictly speaking of the Grimfrost line, but that does not matter. No, your father did attempt the climb once. He has not told you of this?
No, but I might be able to guess. Oh,
He is a proud man, that much I sensed of him. No, he tried to ascend much as you did. He encountered the ice worms. They tested him greatly. I actually had to intervene. His own strength was not enough for the challenges that Kelvin's can. That was too much for him. Not simply that he was unable to beat the worms, but that I helped him. He actually took it quite badly. He never attempted the ascension again.
that makes a lot of sense.
He did not appreciate what he saw as being charity, mercy, even. He felt that he should have been left to die on the mountainside.
Roy's just shaking his head like stupid old fool.
So yes, I never truly spoke with your father, not in a meaningful way.
Have you ever been down to Bryn Shanda?
From time to time. Why? There's a cheeky little grin on her face at that.
Oh, yeah.
I with everything that's happening with Lendis and the state of the world, my father's health is in decline. He feels completely lost, disconnected from everything.
Your father sees asking for help as weakness. That is his weakness.
Indeed.
I do not sense that in you. Looking at your friends, I think it is not a problem that you have.
Yes, they have helped me more than once.
As allies should.
You, forgive me, you mentioned something that the last was not of my line to see you. Who do you mean, if you do not mind me asking?
Oh, do me a persuasion check.
Ah!
Come on, Rogar. Come on.
I can't do it.
I can't help it, can I?
No.
Guidance.
I'd
10.
say
Too
no,
late.
you
Too late.
can't help on this one, no. And you
Nah.
couldn't guidance it.
That's okay.
It happens too quickly. Guidance is more the
didn't expect
spell.
it,
You have
yeah.
to be ready. She smiles kindly, but shakes her head. I would be betraying, I feel, to tell you.
I was just Hoping it was my mother, is all. No matter.
She just
Stop.
holds your she just holds your gaze.
I'll just dig into my food. Nom 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 nom.
Waka waka waka.
I am sure that if it is meant to be, then you may come across her.
I'll just nod with some meat in my mouth. Like, I don't want to talk about it.
Whoops.
Turns to. She senses your awkwardness, your reluctance on that one. Turns to you, Goshak and Cal. So, Doomfist. This is not a clan that I'm familiar with. From where do you hail?
With a mouthful of meat, we're going from Mithril Hall.
I'm sorry. What?
I'm sorry. I forget my table manners. I've not eaten anything decent for a long time.
It is okay. I forgive.
So, we hail from Mithril Hall, or at least I did. I don't think I'm technically there anymore. Welcome there anymore.
Kind of seems to wave that side. Mithril Hall. Interesting.
I believe our ancestors actually, when they reclaimed the hall, actually came from this side, a bit further. If I remember from last session, was it east of the mountain, like in a cavern?
You're talking about the Dwarven Valley?
Yeah.
Dwarven Valley is actually part of the mountain. It's lower down on the southern side.
Because I believe that's where you mentioned that we were.
Yes, you would know that the expedition. Again, this is common knowledge to pretty much any dwarf born and raised in Mithril Hall, as well as many of the other holds in the north. Brunor Battlehammer was not from Dwarven Valley, but the expedition to reclaim Mithril Hall was led by him out of Dwarven Valley. So yeah, I mean, family history is important to dwarves. Yes, you would know that this is where. I'm sure your grandfather would have spoken of it at some point. This is where your family, Dwarven Valley at least, is where the Doomfists originated from.
Oh, we will. I was saying before we got attacked by the creepy, crawly centipede things. I'd actually love to go and see it. I've never been there. Have you been there?
I do not travel there. My relations with the dwarves that live there have ever been tepid, shall we say. I will not mince words. They somewhat resent me for taking this place as my home. But I am on reasonable enough terms with them. We are united, at least against a common enemy. If you wish to visit it, by all means. In fact, I can make sure your journey down there is safe. The mountain has tested you once. You have no need to prove yourselves again. I'm sure you will be welcomed. The dwarves who live here, they are, I would say, a little bit more guarded than they might be elsewhere. You must understand the land here is harsh. Survival is harder. Trust comes slower. But that is towards me. You are of their kin. You may have an easier time. That
Hopefully.
one gestures towards you, Grishnak. Maybe not so much. I mean no offense. I do
We
not
have a
judge
plan for that, milady.
you. Oh,
Krishnak,
Yeah.
Put on the helmet.
the helmet, please.
All right then. He just puts on. You know I don't like wearing this thing.
Aye, but still, I think that'll disguise his physique and orcish features.
she bursts out laughing. Yes, I am sure. They will definitely not tell from the hulking, green-hued, muscular arms.
He's a little tall for a dwarf.
I've got a cloak that'll cover up the arms.
Quite. She seems
If
amused
anyone's
by
got
this.
a pair of gloves, it would be appreciated.
I have gloves, but they don't have fingers.
I may be able to find something.
Nothing too fancy.
Trust me, nothing I have is, at least in that regard, is too fancy. It is, generally it is what is collected from those who do not survive the trials of the mountain.
Ew.
Not everyone has what it takes.
A bit like Gotrek.
Fucking hell.
Low blow! Oh!
You stood your ground. You could have fled. You did not. Not alone proves you worthy. Besides, it is not the strength of anyone as an individual. That is the lesson that I am sorry to say your father, Rathar, never learned. But your strength together. May I speak bluntly?
Yes.
As a group, you are indeed strong to take on not just one Remorhaz, but a hunting pack led by one as fearsome. I will say I am quite glad that you slew that one. She was getting to be a problem. I was approaching the point where I would have to take care of her myself. It is good that you put her down. It helps cull their numbers and encourage others to grow strong. It is good for them this way. As strong as you are, the victories you tell me that you have had over the cult, how many... You tell me you fought and slew a blue? And you saw off a green. These dragons, were they young, old?
Young and adult.
Middling?
Middling.
Well.
He was a big, large
Yeah.
fellow.
Green one was a big lad. Blue one even.
He was not old, though.
No. And you understand, Rogar, that if you wish to face Tiamat, you will be dealing with her oldest and most devout subjects.
Yes. We are not ready for that yet.
Yes, I do not fancy your chances.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, but she's got more than just dragons helping her as well.
Is this so?
Yeah, she's got orcs on her side.
That is, if you will pardon my forthrightness, little other than a distraction. Cannon fodder.
Ah,
One dragon is worth 100 of the lesser races. I'm sorry, that is rude of me, but I do not mean lesser as in... Ugh, what am I saying? Many of her loyalist subjects. They do not inhabit this plane. They reside with her in her palace in Avernus. But if they enter the battle, some of them are older than I am. Which looks very meaningfully towards you at this Rogar. And I myself... What year is it now? Nearly...
1493?
Well remembered.
Scrolling back up furiously.
I myself am nearing my 9th millennia.
You don't look a day over 8.
Thank you, but I know my age. Some of her dragons are older still.
Well, we will take this one step at a time.
Exactly.
I mean to say as well, if you are set on doing this, pick your fights carefully. If you can find a way without facing them so directly, please take it. Slaying a blue dragon of a few hundred years is an impressive feat, and you should be commended for it. But some of those under her command even all the combined armies of men could not stand up to them. You must be careful how you proceed. If you do too much too soon, she may act against you directly. Or rather, by which I mean she will send some of these after you. She will let loose her own dogs of war. The cult are one thing.
What types of, dogs of war does she have?
I'm talking about dragons, Gotrek.
I know, but, where... in all seriousness...
There is also...
She's in... Would Gotrek know where she is, Tiamat is?
Oh, she did... Torvuth did say a moment ago, Avernus.
Okay, cool. Where she is in Avernus, that's obviously 9 hells. Does she have devils, at her beck and call?
This is actually a fair question. Yes, sort of, in a way. Are you familiar with the term Abashai?
Bless you.
Would I be familiar with Abishai?
Do me either.
Because I know, but...
Yeah, I'd say
As I say, is
either.
that
know as well.
motherfucker that attacked the wizard?
I don't think so.
Can you do me
No.
either history or religion?
Histoire. 7! Big roll.
I get involved
No,
on that.
you've never heard of these. I will say Ruri, yes, you can.
I'll go religion.
Yeah, slightly higher DC for you because this isn't in your directs.
I'm
That's fine.
This is of
proficient.
less relevance.
Nope.
I was going to say I'm proficient in a religion, but I...
So would I
Would-
have learnt it with my time in the church?
Would either of you have studied the 9 hells or dragon lore? That's the question.
Well, I
prob-
speak Draconic.
You do
Figuring
speak
that I probably-
Draconic.
Maybe
I
would have looked
wouldn't.
into it.
But you obviously are a keen student of history. Go on then, you two can both make a check, but again, it'll be a higher DC because this isn't so
Religion
relevant
or history?
What, religion or history?
either. Yeah. In fact,
Either
Cal,
equal, I'll
you
do
can do
mine
it
as
as religion. Ooh.
And I will do
Gotrek,
it
you
as
do it as
history.
history.
Ah,
Okay. Cal, this does actually ring a bell with you. You've heard the name. You know them to. You covered them briefly under the greater umbrella of fiends, but you're not entirely sure what they are. Which is fine because you have asked her about them and she's about to explain. Abishai, they are not. Technically, they are fiends. Technically. They are. They are to dragon kind what the devils are to your kind.
Oh,
That's a simplification. And I do not know the true details, only Tiamat knows. They aren't exactly dragonoids, nor are they entirely devils. They are some kind of hybrid that she has created, using both what she learned from the creation of Dragonborn, as well as the fiendish energy rife in the Nine Hells. Regardless, they make up the bulk of her army in Avernus, and generally serve as agents to allied factions on the material plane, although reports of them actually being deployed, I have not heard of any in a long time, and while I am somewhat removed from society in any shape or form up here, I have my contacts. I hear rumours. If the Abishai had been deployed in any meaningful way, I feel I would know about it.
so that wasn't an Abishai that attacked us then. Then what was it? Can we describe? Well,
Do you want to describe what it was to her?
yeah, what attacked us?
it was like a fiery clown with its head in its hands.
What?
Does that help at all?
I thought it was like baby-faced clockwork kind of looking people with eerily screaming, and they moved really weirdly.
Well, yeah, they were the main force, but then there was that bloke
And he
on
was-
the
Aye,
Flaming
the flaming
horse.
horse.
Yeah, flaming
Nightmare.
horse.
And
Hmm.
was these symbols as well? And because I remember Rory told me about
Cool.
the symbols that were was
Pain,
it pain and fear?
fear.
And then there was that one
Somewhere.
that you couldn't quite decipher. Rory, question, and be honest here. Did you simply take note of what they were, or did you actually try to memorize and copy them down?
He wasn't copying them down. He was saying them verbally,
Right, okay.
like over and over.
She shakes her head. They sound like fiends, like devils, but I'm afraid my dealings with the Nine Hells have been limited, and not in a long time. They do not sound like... I'm afraid I cannot distinguish any more than that.
It's okay. I can look at my books when we get back to Fandolin. See what I can.
Nonetheless, Abishai, you would know if you had faced one. They look, in appearance, not dissimilar from Dragonborn. Unsurprising, as I said, she took what little she understood of the creation of Dragonborn and used it in the process, but yes, they appear similar and would certainly be recognizable.
Well, this bodes well.
Aye, it does. Demons galore, here we come.
Devils.
Devils, sorry. Devils galore, here we come.
Well, as I say, they are not strictly speaking. They are as much devil as they are anything else, I suppose. But they're also very draconic in nature. They do not serve the various other archdukes of the Nine Hells. They serve her exclusively.
Well,
It is fair to say, however, you mentioned you fought against devils.
We did.
It is troubling.
Well, we assume they weren't after us, particularly we were
Yes.
caught in the crossfire.
we were not their targets.
You are sure of this?
I think we would have been dead if we were.
This is not an unreasonable assumption. It is worrying that that other devils would involve themselves. You see, what do you know of Tiamat, of her current situation?
I look at Rogo.
I think I get a flashback to a vision that I had, I think, during my downtime.
Yeah. I would say as well, at this, you also get a flashback. You get like a memory that is not your own of a flaming portal beyond which you can see the five-headed dragon roaring in rage and frustration. Let's say one more than that. Yeah, it's vague. You get a feeling that it's a memory of Valorians, not of your own. And you get that feeling of, it's probably easier to describe in words rather than try and describe the actual memory to you, of her imprisonment, of her being trapped, essentially, in the Nine Hells, of being locked away and bound by ritual.
So can I insinuate from that Valorian was present during her imprisonment?
You could do, yeah.
Okay.
It's not something you've actually ever asked him.
I think I will in this moment. As if he showed me this, I'll ask him. It's like, Valorian, were you there?
I was. It was my honor. Sadly, it's not the last time that I had dealings with the agents of Tiamat. And with that, as he says that, you get a flash of another memory, and this time it's of a humanoid figure. In some ways, not entirely dissimilar from how Torvuth appears, but at the same time quite different, where Torvuth has this appearance of seeming almost kindly, trying to come across as warm, as friendly. You remember this figure, strikingly beautiful, but cruel in appearance. Long black hair, but eyes that flash with many colours, namely 5. You remember her standing over, watching as these bizarre creatures that look almost like half-dragons, but more lithe, more twisted, in different ways, of the different chromatic colours, as they set about butchering various dragonborn clad in plate armour bearing the mark of Bahamut, and of Valorian fighting desperately against overwhelming numbers.
Shit. I guess that all happens in what, like a flash of a...
Yeah, it's like a sudden... It's like a couple of frames of memory. You don't really get a very clear, distinct image of what's going on. Simply, within a temple, robed figures stood around this large female, this quite towering female figure, taller than a human has any right to be. Although you're not sure how accurate that is, or if the memory is warped by perception. But yeah, you just have that sudden flash of a losing battle.
Okay. I believe I have had a vision of her imprisonment.
Indeed.
But also my companion, Valorian.
Valorian?
I will...
How do you know of Valorian?
I'll summon the sword. And Valorian resides within here.
Is this possible? She rises and walks around the table, and she actually reaches out, just gently lays her hand upon the crossguard of the blade, and suddenly kind of pulls her hand away, almost in surprise, as in, touching something that's very hot, kind of thing, a very kind of sharp. She looks genuinely surprised. Well, this is both a wonderful reunion, but also deeply sad. We knew that Valorian we believed he had perished. I assumed he had passed beyond.
He was not given that luxury.
And you come to possess his blade in some way. I believe such magics exist, then. I have questions, but I think I understand. I fought beside Valorian, one of the few platinum dragonborn of Bahamut. Maybe you do have a chance.
Our allies grow.
Indeed. I digress. You were asking about the devils. We will talk about this more, but later. Where was I? Tiamat was sealed in Avernus by the order of Bahamut, with some help from yours truly and a few others, of course. Her presence in the Nine Hells complicated the situation there. Devils are deeply, I suppose you would say, political. They amuse themselves in between the corrupting of mortal souls, the games of power, as various devils fight to ascend the hierarchy. Many of the archdevils were not happy when Tiamat was banished to Avernus, most notably Baal, who was then the Archduke of Avernus. He did not appreciate her presence, the interference that she brought. The devils have been eternally locked in what is called the Blood War, an ongoing battle against demonkind. It is never ending. Avernus being the first layer of hell, it is where the borders between realms, between the Nine Hells and the Abyss, are weakest. Any assault on the Nine Hells, or vice versa, any assault from the Nine Hells on the Abyss, are all conducted from Avernus, so you can see how the devils would be concerned with the presence of such a chaotic individual as Tiamat, with the interference she could bring. If she was to align with anyone's side, then she could well swing the war in their favour, but her pride will not allow such a thing. Regardless, I do not know much, I do not know the details, but it seems that Asmodeus, Lord of the Nine Hells, is content with her presence there. For what reason? I do not know. I would wager that none know. But Asmodeus himself, he is ineffable, unknowable.
Asmodeus is real?
Very real. Did you ever doubt it?
Well, it's just he was like the boogeyman. Like, if I didn't eat my vegetables, then Asmodeus would come and get me.
You know for certainty the existence of gods. The blood of celestials runs within your veins, but you are surprised at the existence of their counterpart.
Well, when you say it like that, I had a very sheltered upbringing.
Many humans do.
Eat your vegetable. Devil is gonna get.
My point in all this is that some devils, some archdukes, seek to oppose Tiamat. Others seek to aid her. For whatever reason. I mentioned Baal, former Archduke of Avernus. Much opposed to Tiamat he was. That was part of his downfall. He split his focus, his attentions. He tried to combat the demons and Tiamat. This caused him to fail in his efforts to fight and maintain the blood war. And he was replaced. Well, ousted and then replaced. Details again. I am not a scholar on these subjects, sadly. I know only what I can glean from mortal texts, what mortal scholars have divined of this. The one who replaced him, a former celestial known as Zariel, seems to take a different approach to Tiamat. She seems to favor her. Though if I had to guess, I would say she does so what better way to be rid of an inconvenience, such an ambitious inconvenience, than by working with it, helping it achieve its own goals. If the devils are attacking you, that suggests that they are potentially taking an interest in assisting the cult. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So to this end, I would not be so sure that you are not their target.
So, the man would see.
So was that you're breaking up a little bit, mate?
The man on the horse did allude to the fact that we would see him again.
You said you did not believe you were their target. Who else could have been?
Well,
You don't need to be coy.
we were Well, it's so funny because we were trying to get here, but we were working with the Zentarim.
Ah, yes. The merchant network. You can hear
yes.
the audible quotation marks around merchant.
Well, yes, we have very similar opinions, but the fact of the matter is, we were using their wizard to try and get here. Obviously, that didn't go very well. We just assumed they had a pre-existing grudge that had nothing to do with us, but maybe not.
This was while you were transporting the eggs here.
Yes.
Have you considered that they may have been trying to impede your journey?
Why not just kill it? Take the eggs.
These devils would not have been working directly for Tiamat or the cult. I feel that they may have been, how to put it, doing a favor. The thing with devils is that they love deals. They love to make a deal. They love to do you a small service now in return for a greater payoff later. They do a little thing for you now, you do a big thing for them later. You understand? Therefore, it may be a case of you ask them to do the barest minimum to achieve your goals in order to minimize what you have to pay them back in the future.
Let's see.
Let's see.
I could be wrong, but that is my reading of it.
Knowing our luck, you're probably right.
Well, that's even fucking worse than we thought. We're like, oh yeah, they're after the Zentarim. We're totally fine.
Maybe the Zentarim were just the simplest way to stop you.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
It's cool, I'd rather them than us.
For now.
Asmodeus is gonna get you.
Don't eat your vegetables.
No, we need to eat our vegetables right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This proves that the cult are, if this is correct, deadly serious about their plan. They would not risk owing such a precarious ally if they did not believe that the end goal was worth it. I'm curious as to how they intend to break the seal that locks that in place. Such a thing, I do not know how it would be achieved.
Well, they've got the orcs gathering treasure. I don't know if that would do it.
Treasure alone would not break the seal. It would simply incentivize Tiamat. Not that she needs much in the way of incentive, but the Nine Hells are sparse when it comes to treasure. Devils do not care for currency, they do not care for gold or gems, they care for souls. Money is just a resource to be expended in the corruption of mortals. The horde that Tiamat presides over in Avernus, I would wager, is paltry. If the cult can gather together a more impressive horde on this plane, that would please Tiamat greatly.
Torvuth, you don't think she's hoarding souls in Avernus, do you?
I do not believe so. I do not think, unless her time there has changed her, souls would provide nothing in the way of sustenance for her.
So, do you think she's sort of planning some sort of jailbreak then?
Maybe, but the last time she was able to reach into material plane was through an avatar. Her physical form itself would be, even if it were able to enter this plane. No, that does not matter. But yes, I do not know how she would go about that. Maybe some oversight, some loophole in the ritual that bound her, maybe, I don't know. That would be maybe something to look at. If you know how she attempts to do it, then maybe could impede it.
If this horde is going to incentivize her, perhaps our next tactic would be to disperse the horde, to reclaim the treasure.
This... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, wouldn't that deprive her of potential allies on the material plane?
In what sense?
Well, the cult acts in, air quotations, the shadows. They don't need to make a move. If we remove the open assets on the table, such as the orc horde that's gathering, taking loot, and then I think, are they giving it to the cult for Tiamat? If we take them off the table, maybe it would expose the cult more? Maybe?
It would mean going against Garrick, though.
Yo, Krishna.
And Garrick isn't to be trifled with.
I think that if you were to hamper the cult's efforts to provide this horde for her, it would displease her. I do not think that would hamper her ambitions to return to the material plane, at least to free herself from her prison. I think she would take anywhere as an improvement on that, but if you could show the cult as being unworthy of her attention, would not be a bad thing.
If we're going after the orcs, we're going to have to be careful. We can't just go straight in and attack Garrick. We have to undermine him, chip away at his strength. His numbers, basically.
You know him best, Krishna.
Well, there's one thing that an orc appreciates more than anything, and that's power. If we can make him look weak, or make the cult look weak, they could be convinced to turn to our side. Not all of them, but maybe enough that gets him on his feet. Gives us an opening.
Either way, it sounds like you have quite a task ahead of you. Do you know where you are bound next? This Phandalin?
I Think that's the plan, isn't it, boys?
I think it is too.
I think so.
I
She
mean,
was more than due back.
did you, were we going to check out those, dwarven ruins that we saw?
If we head south, are we able to we're not able to teleport straight back to Phandalin. We'll need to either head to, unless our gracious hostess is able to get us there. Which,
My apologies, but where is this Phandalin? Is it far?
do we
It's
have the map?
it's to the south.
I mean, have you got the rune, Gotrek?
Everything's to the south here.
I mean, yeah, south is basically everything. You're not far off the Arctic Circle.
Well, no, because I mean, we've got the rune for. Because
You've got the runes for Mithril Hall.
yeah, Phandalin does not have a teleportation circle,
Nope.
so we would
Doesn't.
need someone who has been there before.
I've got the map that's got Wave Echo Cave marked on it. We can use that to show where it is.
No, they need to physically have been there before.
Oh no, I mean you mean showing Torvuth where it is.
Oh,
Yeah, show
yeah.
Torvuth where it is.
Yeah, so you show her the map and she sighs and shakes her head sadly. It is at least a week's travel even for me. I cannot be away from the mountain for that long. The people here rely upon my protection. If it was known that I was gone even for a few days, the frost giants would act on that. And they would attack the 10 towns again. I must stay here and guard against that. It is my it is my duty. Sadly.
I believe Bryn Shanda does have a teleportation circle. We could potentially go to another city. Waterdeep.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I
Waterdeep or Neverwinter. Either one.
I'm remembering from when I was younger, it might not be there anymore.
So you do know that, because I think we covered this previously, you do know that Bryn Shanda has a teleportation circle, you just don't know yourself what the sigil sequence would be for it, which is why you weren't able to try and get there.
Yeah.
So obviously you, Gortrek, know the the sigils for Mithril Hall. However, let's go to the map. Make this easier.
it would take at least a couple of weeks to get there.
The problem is, Mithril Hall's not much closer than where you are now. And when you
Neither,
factor
To
in,
be fair.
Mithril Hall's a bit closer, but you have to do a lot of cross country to get to Phandalin from Mithril Hall. Obviously, you remember when you travelled there during the 2 years downtime, it took you about a month, which is not dissimilar to what we would be talking about. Oh, sorry, let me bring up my interactive map where I can measure distances. Who's doing a Darth Vader impression?
Cal, you're not
Cal.
asleep, mate, Cal. Ian.
Yo.
Right, there's...
I was in the kitchen. No,
Go
I was
back
actually
here.
upstairs. I was actually in the kitchen. I was miles. I was getting my beer. I've got one beer left, and I'm now being hugged by a child.
Dad.
Why are you into bed? Right. So sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you'd be looking at about, some of that would be over rough ground, some would be on road. So you're looking at about 18 to 20 days if you were to go on foot from here back to Phandalin. If you were going from Mithril Hall, you're looking at about, I mean, some of it you could do by river, which would speed you up a little bit. Basically taking the route that you originally used to get there during your downtime. You're looking at about the same time, really, 18 to 20 days, depending on conditions
What
and
about
such.
what about if we could get to Neverwinter? Because that guy had a teleportation circle in his shop, didn't he?
You know, so here's the thing. So you know that Bryn Shanda has a teleportation circle.
Yes.
You don't know the sigils for that guy's circle in the shop. You wouldn't be able to get
Could
there.
we message him and ask for them?
You could try.
Gotrek, how charismatic are you feeling?
Now, there's a good chance, Rogar, you don't know where Brynshanda would have sigils for, it is reasonable to assume that they would have the sigils for at least one of the major cities.
Yeah.
You would assume they'd probably have sigils for at least Waterdeep, maybe Neverwinter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not certain, but that's not an unreasonable assumption to make. So it's possible that if you could go and persuade the authorities in Brynshanda, your father, might let you use it to get to Neverwinter. Obviously, that would cut down hugely. It'll take you about a day to get back down to Brynshanda from here. Although you might be able to prevail upon Torvuth to at least take you down there, because that wouldn't require her really leaving the region. And then you're only looking at not even a week, like half a week from Neverwinter to Phandalin. Other options are, I'll throw them out there so that, kind of covered all of the possibilities. You could travel from here down to Luskan and charter a boat from Luskan down to Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Luskan would be rough.
Grishnak
would Luskan, think Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Grishnak, you'd probably get on there quite well. I think Ruri, you'd be able to adapt to it because of your background, your upbringing, time in the streets. Cal, you're fairly happy-go-lucky. You can burn anyone who gives you any shit.
I was going to say maybe Rogar's friend, the head of the guard, will give us the necessary means to teleport from Brynshanda.
What, the one he just knocked on his arse?
Yeah.
Rogar, you'd know that Gatherix probably doesn't play a part in who's allowed to use the teleportation circle. The Hand are more about they're law enforcement. They're like a military/police force.
I mean, if we want to go for the try and use Daddy's teleportation circle, I think I've got a reasonable idea about how we could potentially convince him.
So that can be Plan A, and then Plan B can be Luskan, because that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if you were
Luskan
going to
sounds
go to
good.
Luskan, you'd probably want to go down the mountain, stop off at Brynshanda, and then through to Luskan. I mean,
Yeah.
Rogar, I would say that the thought, if you're sat here, if Rogar's sat there thinking about ways that he might be able to convince his father to let them use the teleportation circle in Brynshanda, Torvuth's presence could help.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It's that thing of, obviously from the discussion you've had with her so far this evening, she's not gone into too much detail, but it appears that in the brief meeting that your father had with Torvuth, they didn't exactly get on. But that doesn't, but obviously you know that your father is still
A dick.
he is a dick. From everything from that conversation you had with him, everything he showed of his true nature, that he's like hiding behind all the bluster. He's scared, he's fearful, he's riddled with doubt. That doesn't mean he's any less firm in his convictions. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that he's any less sincere when he refers to Kelvin's cairn as being sacred, as Torvuth being important, as being their protector.
That's kind of betting on, like, kind of be like, because he felt like semi-abandoned. He's like, oh, Torvuth, hasn't, seen us, blah, 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 blah. So I'm hoping maybe if we can ride the old girl down there.
Yeah, I'd say you get the sense that
Like
he...
a used car
Park her
salesman.
outside.
You can get so many warriors on this bad boy.
he might not like her, he might not agree with her ideology. You get the impression that Torvuth doesn't really have the highest opinion of Elendis.
Fuck that guy.
But
Who?
that doesn't mean he wouldn't respect her.
Yeah, because it's like he's worried that like he can't protect Icewind Dale and the 10 towns. But it's like, hey, look, I'm not a fucking failure. I literally bought the actual mega protector down to show you.
Yeah,
Like, shit's okay.
could be worth a try, man. Could be worth a
Chill,
try.
chill the fuck out, Dad.
Yeah, Dad.
Are we still all right to go to the Dwarven Valley as well?
Where is it on the map?
So the Dwarven Valley would be, yeah, you're looking more here.
So yeah, we could do it on like.
How many worms between us and that?
Well, if we get the runes for it, we can literally come back whenever, right?
The runes for what?
The circle that we're about to teleport.
Oh, for Bryn Shander?
Well, try to. Yeah, that we're about to try to teleport from anyway.
Yeah, I suppose. Could. Yeah.
I mean, we could, if we convinced him to use the circle, we could always spend come back and spend a couple of days going to the valley and then come back again. Doesn't have to be there and then, maybe.
Yeah.
So what, we would head to Bryn Shander.
We'd head to Bryn Shander, get permission to use the circle. If he says yes, we can go to the valley, get Old Dwarfy, and then go back to Phandalin. If he says no, we'll go to the valley, get Old Dwarfy, and then we'll go to Luskin.
Who's Old
How does
Dwarf?
that sound? Yeah.
Sorry, if I missed.
Get Old
Are we
No.
correct?
I did the same as you for a second. I think get all dwarfy.
Oh,
As
get
in-
all right. I thought you said Old Dwarfy, and I was
Yeah,
like,
no, I thought that at first. I was like, hang on, who are you getting?
Is that, have I missed it?
You don't actually know anyone there.
Yeah, I'm up for either or.
I think it would make sense to try and get back as quick as we can.
Yeah.
It's
so-
probably
I mean-
already burnt to fuck.
What would
No,
you
but ruins though.
What would you be seeking
are
in,
right.
in Dwarven Valley?
I think if I remember correctly, secrets, Dwarven secrets from before. Because I remember you saying like that's where there have been molds of Dwarven craft to go see them. So
What
if I can glean any ideas from them for advances.
No, I might have given the wrong impression. What there is at Dwarven Valley is there's a place called, let me get the name of it right, check my notes. Where's the one I talk about? There we go. Should have had this open already. Always prepared, mate. There we go. Yeah. It is called oh fuck, I'm on the wrong page. Bear with me. Yeah, for some reason I've got it in my notes for Kelvin's Cairn, not in the notes for Dwarven Valley. That doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, so there's a site kind of at the northernmost point of the valley. So at the highest point of the valley, there's a site called Brunnor's Temple. And it's the spot where Brunnor forged the artifact known as Aegis Fang, which was it was a mithril warhammer. He forged it shortly before. It was made for a guy called Wulfgar. It wasn't used by Bruno himself, but it was made shortly before the expedition to retake Mithril Hall. Because of this, it's been seen as a sacred place by the dwarves. So many have visited the site to forge their own masterworks. It was Bruno's magnum opus piece, essentially. So it's not there aren't secrets there to be obtained that you would know of in any way. There aren't any like molds or anything like that. It's just simply viewed as a place of cultural significance for dwarfs. So some of them do travel there to forge certain pieces.
Oh, no, I get struck by inspiration.
And there are dwarves living there now. There's not many, but some did return there after Mithril Hall was reclaimed. So it's not like an abandoned. It's not abandoned ruins that you would necessarily find secrets in. This is just based on what Gotrek knows of the place. It's a small dwarven settlement, small community, which does feature this. Yeah, sacred site of cultural significance to dwarves. But yeah, it's up to you if you want to do a detour there.
As long as everyone else is fine with it. If not, I don't mind putting it, pinning it for a while.
Well, maybe if you've got something like specific to like make, it'd be worth the
Like a fiery
pilgrimage.
helmet of doom.
Yeah,
Still on that one.
Calibre's Doom Hell.
Would
Wait.
they be able to help me unlock? I'm air quoting. You can't see that. Would they help me to unlock my alchemy skills that I seemingly have never used yet?
The dwarves there? No, not really.
I'm easy then.
Dwarves are not. I mean, you wouldn't be the first dwarf to practice alchemy at all, but it's not like a specialty.
I'm worried about Fandlin.
Let's go make sure it's not burned down first.
Then
We'll get the rune sigils from your daddy, so we can come back.
So obviously, I know
I'm
we've.
interested to see how much of a biggie, please, daddy, that is.
So I know that obviously mostly this conversation's been done at character for ease. Obviously, how much of this would you be discussing in character at the table with Torvuth? Obviously, she sat looking amused as you discuss all this. I mean, what I think what I'm getting at is, have you, Rogar, you're talking about potentially getting Torvuth to fly you guys down the mountain back to Bryn Shander. Is that something you're airing in front of Torvuth?
Please do.
I no, because I think it requires a lot more tact.
Okay.
So I think maybe hinting at like, if only I had something that
Oh,
Daddy
it's such
would
a long
like.
way down the mountain.
I don't.
If
I
only
really don't know.
Piraxis were here.
Yeah. I mean, potentially we could pull it to one side and get her on her own and ask her.
Oh yeah, give her the tapestry and then ask her.
Well, you could give her the tapestry. She might.
You give her the tapestry.
You give her the tapestry. Pushing this piece of cloth back and forward.
Literally, we could both give her the tapestry. Like, have it extended out, like, both holding one side.
I mean, I would say if you wanted to show it to her, it probably would require at least two of you so that you can actually show it to her, kind of thing.
Furl it. Yeah, I guess we can be like, we were told to make sure that we brought you a gift, you enjoyed historical gifts. So my friend Rory thought to find this for you, and then I guess we can unfurl it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so as you're finishing discussion, as dinner's wrapping up, you broach this one. It is true that I take an interest in the history of the mortal races, history of Faerun, of Old Toril, but what is this that you bring me? I'm assuming,
Well,
Yes, Rory, what is it?
Well, so I've been told. I actually bought this from Baldur's Gate, and the shopkeeper informed me this tapestry depicts the founding of the city.
So I'm assuming that you're unfurling it as you say this?
Yeah.
She does. She kind of, for the second time, kind of rises to her feet and comes over to examine it closer. This is the hero Balduran. And this must be his journey to Ankarom. Most interesting. Ankarom was the home of the Eri, you see. Long extinct, of course. This is a fine piece. And a gift?
Yes.
Then I take it gratefully. Thank you.
Now flies down the fucking mountain.
As always, I do not ever like to ask. It's such a presumption, but it is nice to add such a fine piece to my collection. You do note that there is incredible eagerness and kind of hunger in her voice and her eyes as she takes this from you. It's that thing of, this is probably the most like dragon-like behavior, like trait you've seen her display so far. This kind
Licking her lips.
yeah, this is she's very happy about this.
Well,
And you can see there's she's had this kind of almost like restraint the whole time you've been with her. It's definitely slipping here. The mask has fallen a bit.
well, I'm glad you like it.
Of course, this is a fine piece.
I'll do one of my clumsy, trying to do the formal, Draconic, I'll do like a little bow, and then I'll try and say like a formal thank you, you're welcome sort of thing in Draconic, but stumble over it.
The accent is a little bit off, but that was quite good.
Thank you. I've actually been practicing, and I'll pull out the dragon poetry. If I will, I have prepared a short reading.
Oh, this is the stuff that you've been working on.
Stolen, yeah.
This is the stuff you stole.
Yeah, this is just straight on, word for word, the very bad dragon poetry.
Okay. Which I don't actually have written down what it is, just the description of what it was. Do you want to actually recite it?
I can bullshit something, yeah.
I don't mean like you as in recite some of it, just Rui is reciting this poetry to her.
Yeah, he does it word for word in Draconic.
Okay, yeah, do me a performance check.
Okay. Hang on, I wasn't ready for this.
Okay. I see. So she stands and listens. She's kind of clutching this rolled up tapestry in her hands, like clutching it to her chest quite tightly, and she kind of stands there giving you a hard to read expression as you recite this poetry. And she kind of nods as you finish. Well, you told it very well. I think, yes, that was very well read.
Thank you. Do you have any notes?
It is a little maybe basic. A little heavy on the flattery. Do not get me wrong. It is. If I may speak bluntly, this poetry, it feels more like it would be suited to more of a chromatic audience, it seems.
You know, it's funny you should say that. This was actually, I can't remember her name, but this was written by one of the that we killed.
Oh, you did not write this poetry yourself?
No. So I thought you were the best person to get notes on and how I could improve it and turn it into my own repertoire.
I see. Okay. Well, then, if I'm speaking honestly, it was kind of awful.
Oh.
You read it very well. The performance was good, but the words, it sounds like it is simply trying to appeal to a dragon's vanity. Those of us of a metallic, we try not to revel in such adulation. It is not Bahamut's way.
So humbler and better is
A
what I'm
little
getting.
less overstated, maybe. Yes.
Of course.
Just be humble and better.
Maybe more focus on deeds rather than simple attributes. Yeah, we know we are powerful. To have mortals harp on about that, it can sound a little bit like fawning. But if you took it from a the ranks of the cult, well, that is not surprising. They have no shame in their efforts to please our kind.
Which I do find slightly odd, but that's a different issue. Time.
Yeah, there have been stranger things. I think a mortal seeking to serve a dragon makes more sense than those who wish to serve liches, than those who seek to serve the undying. That one always struck me as a little bit weird, if I'm honest.
No, I quite agree. No, definitely, yeah.
Why would a mortal wish to serve something which seeks only to kill everything? And it's who wants to be a mindless zombie? It's bizarre. It is so bizarre.
Yes, very bizarre, isn't it, gang? I'll look at everyone.
I think everyone's probably half asleep by now. Like, we've literally just come from a huge fight.
You have, yeah. It is
Oh, yeah,
technically
by the
still
way.
the same day.
Could you heal me?
I would say you've definitely all done a short rest over this time.
Okay.
I think we're going to go straight to a long rest.
Yeah. No, it's just kind of... Listen, it has... Not matter at all. It has been a long day for all of you. Particularly you, Gotrek. I'll let you rest. I believe you have some ideas of where you're going next, but for now, sleep. Regain your strength, and tomorrow continue with plans, but for now I will take this fine gift and I will leave you in peace. Unless there is anything else.
I would speak with you privately, if you will.
Of course, you can accompany me, please. Come. She rises and begins to head out the hall.
I give Rogar Bardic Inspiration as leaves.
Okay. So, so yeah, real quick. So those of you who are obviously staying here, is there anything you want to do? Anything you quickly want to go over, or are you just going to head and rest?
Head to rest, I think.
Yeah, I think Krishnat's going to head to rest.
Probably being a bit overbearing with Gotrek, like holding his head as he lies down, like tucking him in, that sort of thing.
Fussing over him a little bit.
I'm not dead yet.
I imagine
No,
Gotrek in his pajamas, but still with his helmet on.
Gotrek, do you need me to carry you anywhere?
I'm fine. I'm not completely crippled yet.
Okay. So as you guys all settle down, a little bit of bickering to rest. So Rogar, you follow her. She leads you back up the corridor you came down, across the way. Basically, she's taking you to the large hoard chamber that Cal saw earlier when he retrieved the diamond. So back into the main chamber and then up the left, winding further up into the mountain, where it does get colder the higher you climb, and eventually coming into what must have been a throne room once, as there is a large stone throne on a raised dais at the far end, covered in dust and cobwebs. But the floor of this hall is covered in... You've never seen this much wealth in one place. This is an insane amount of gold, of gems, and various art pieces, statues, carvings, all sorts of things. And she takes the tapestry and heads over to one of the walls behind. She finds a spot of the wall which seems somewhat flanked by a couple of statues rather conveniently placed. You go, this, I think, will be a good spot to display. Could you please assist?
Of course.
And you begin to hang the tapestry. So, what did you wish to ask me? What did you wish to discuss that you think you do not wish your friends to hear? Something more private, maybe?
It is, we need to get to Phandalin. We worry about the cult. As I said, my father is in his health. His mental health is ailing.
Indeed.
I wanted to... you've already done so much. You have healed Gotrek. You have taken the eggs. Fed us and sheltered us. I did not want to ask in front of the others. Would you do us one last kindness?
You can but ask. I mean, everything I have done, it is least I can do for a fellow. No, you are not quite a servant of Bahamut, are you?
What do you mean?
I cannot read minds, Rogar. That is not within my wheelhouse, but I am insightful enough. I sense there is conflict in you. Your line has always venerated Lendis for better or for ill, but you do not subscribe to that path. You do not seem fully... You seem to follow your own. But Valorian resides within you. Somehow. I cannot claim to fully understand that, but he does, and that is enough for me. Like I said,
Yes.
I fought alongside him. Noble warrior.
Has Valorian got anything to say about this? Or think or feel?
You feel pride coming from him at this. Pride, and there's a sense of like nostalgia, memories of fighting alongside various metallic dragons. Trying to focus in on these memories. You flash again to the memory of the battle before the flaming portal of Tiamat screaming in rage and frustration on the other side. You have a memory of a large, very large silver dragon pinning down a thrashing red, tearing into its neck with her teeth. You have the memory of standing fast against hordes of these... no, it wouldn't be, because they wouldn't be there at this point. No, that's the later one, isn't it? My bad. Yeah, you get these little flashes, these little memories of fighting alongside a dragon that you deduce this must be Torvuth.
His memories reside in me. I feel as though I know you. Know eating.
You know me from a long time ago. This is... I barely remember myself, to be honest, and my memory is otherwise quite good. I was young then.
The final favor I wish to ask, it is not just for us, it is for my father as well. Ask your escort down the mountain, and if possible, to speak with my father. Without Lendis, he needs some kind of certain comfort.
You would ask for a display of power, a reaffirmation of faith, maybe?
Yes.
Not necessarily faith in Lendis, but...
Faith in something. He feels almost panicked. No good me telling him. Think about Bahamut. It comforts me, but if he just knows that you are here, honor the act. That will help him a lot.
Do me another persuasion. I'll say you got advantage on this one. She's quite well disposed towards you at this point.
Alright. I'm going to use my bardic inspiration as well.
Yep, go for it. So that's a d6 on top of it.
So, persuasion Oh, okay, I'm not going to bother.
Ooh, that's good though.
I mean, to be fair, it only lasts for a few hours. I mean,
I mean, I may as well.
you could for shits and giggles. I kind of just want to see how high you could push this.
31!
She does. She seems to consider for a moment.
Puppy dog eyes.
I could do this. Yes. It has been a while since I made such a display. You know how to appeal to the dragon within me, Roga. Yes, this could be fun and worthwhile for all of us. The people of Bryn Shanda should feel assured, even if their leader doubts himself.
You remind me of my other companion. So many fucking companions.
Your other companion, Taraxis. I'm afraid I'm not familiar with the name. He is...
Maybe you will meet him tomorrow.
Would this be the Wyvern? I did observe your battle with the Remorhaz. I could not interfere, you understand.
And
For the
yes,
Remorhaz, their behavior is their instinct. But I maintain them here to test those who would seek an audience. I do not like to say this, your friend, he almost perished as a result of this test, but it is necessary.
I think I understand.
It is our way.
Yes, Taraxis is the platinum wyvern you saw. A gift from Bahamut himself.
Bahamut's companions, they can be tricksome, a little bit whimsical.
Yes, indeed.
Very well. I look forward to meeting him. It has been some time. I am glad to do as Lord Bahamut commands. But it has been a lonely millennia up here. It is strange to think that I think so fondly of my memories of war, of conflict, but I was with friends, companions. I have not seen any of my clan for over 1,000 years, Rogar.
Where do they reside?
Sorry, say again.
Where do they reside?
Oh, we are scattered across Faerun. But we are not concentrated in any one place. We meet to breed and no more than that. But still, days of my youth, fighting alongside the other dragons, fighting alongside Valorian, and the Order of Bahamut. They were good days. Hard and often sad, but there was a purpose.
I can feel it.
This is not to say that there is not purpose here. Were I to leave the Frost Giants, they would likely overwhelm the 10 towns. As long as I remain, they keep their place beyond the glacier. So I must stay.
Stand. Purpose.
Duty. In that, I and your father at least agree. But to spread my wings once more... Yes. I'll do this thing.
I look forward to seeing it. It will be quite a spectacle.
That it will. Very well. In the morning, then.
I'll bow deeply and see myself out.
As you
And
leave.
steal a fucking diamond on the way out.
I mean, you could try.
Hell no.
Hell no.
I was going to say when Rogor gets back, could I sort of whisk my way up there to have a conversation?
You can, yeah. So you're waiting for Ogar to return before you do.
Yeah, I'll wait for Rogor to come back and sort of bed down for the night.
Okay. So you're trying to sneak up there as well.
Yeah, I want to be quiet. I don't want anyone else to know that I've gone.
Well, for shits and giggles, can you just do me a stealth check?
I'm so bad at stealth.
Just a flat stealth. I don't think you're not an armor or anything.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Okay. So guys,
I
none
don't
of
even
you.
need to use my birthday advantage.
You don't. So yeah, you succeed, and you wait till everyone else has gone to sleep. You don't disturb anyone as you leave. So no mattering, guys, you are unaware that Cal has left to do this. Okay. Yeah. So you wait probably about. I would say it doesn't take Rogar long to fall asleep. Everyone is pretty exhausted. So I'll say this is only about 30, 40 minutes later. You do heading up to this chamber.
Yeah, I'm assuming that being a dragon, that's where she's going to go to sleep. So, on her hoard.
Yeah. So as you get up there, you are a little taken aback as you enter this chamber. Your assumption was correct. Instead of finding the human figure that you have spent all evening sat in conversation with, you feel her breath before you even enter the chamber. That's a poor way of describing it. As you near this chamber, using your memory to find your way back, you can feel and hear this heavy breathing resonating through the corridor, kind of quite rhythmically. And as you enter this chamber, there is loosely curled upon this mound an enormous silver dragon. And I do mean absolutely gigantic. This dragon is probably twice the size of the blue that you fought in Greenest.
Fucking hell.
Nice. Okay, so
Huge, yeah.
is the chamber just open? Am I knocking the door?
No, there are no doors to this chamber.
Okay.
So there might be. Yeah, you just see this enormous head that's easily the size of. So it's the size of I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It's the size of a tavern. This large, large silver head with a long frill being at the top of its head, flowing all the way down its neck, going all the way down the body to the tip of the tail. Silver, closer to it gets fades to a purple hue at the tips of this frill. It also has two long, smooth silver horns with black tips that point up and back from the head. And there's also like a pronounced sharp frill under the chin, which has the rough appearance of a goatee, almost. And as you enter, part of the reason that you're so taken aback is because the head is slightly raised and looking straight at you. Calibre, I was not expecting you. I am not exactly. I'm not in the habit of appearing this way to mortals.
Sorry to intrude. I
will overlook
was hoping, I was hoping to have a conversation with you around your hoard, actually.
My hoard?
Yeah.
You do notice the voice now is. It's not so much that there is an edge to it, it's just that the warm edge that was there previously is a result of the human form. It's not that the voice sounds like it's all hostile or anything, it's just speaking with a dragon is intimidating. So
yes,
continue.
The funds. Let me just shut the back door because my daughter's gone to bed and left the dogs bouncing around making noise. So yeah, I as you saw when I came in, I have serious commitment to my family. my brother particularly, and I wanted to ask your permission to take a diamond or maybe two. I can't afford to lose him. I can't afford to lose anyone in my party. These guys, they are my family. I have nothing left.
Make me a persuasion check. With advantage, because that is quite an impassioned plea. If you wish to use your birthday advantage, then you can do a double advantage roll.
Let's see what the persuasion with advantage comes out with first.
Yeah, so basically, okay. If you wish, before I tell you the result, if you wish, you can roll one more time.
Yeah, because I ain't going to get to use it again, am I?
I mean, no, you're not, so you might as well actually roll like right at the end of the session.
Yeah, I'll just go with the 20.
So yeah, go with the 20. Your devotion to your family is noted and admirable. You are a curious dwarf. I've never seen one like you. A large tail flicks up, comes around, and the very tip of the tail, for something so big, she seems to have very precise control of it. And just the tip of the tail is about an inch from your face, pointing towards, pointing towards the mark. What is this? And why do you not sport a beard? I have never met a dwarf without one. Not a male dwarf, at least.
I used to have a glorious beard. If there was anything around for me to kill, I still have got a glorious beard, but I don't worship your standard dwarven deity. I had an experience in the Lurkwood, and I follow Kossuth.
A dwarf that observes the primordial. A greater primordial.
I committed myself to following, and this mark that I bear, that I, to be honest, when I'm not just with my party, I hide it away a little because I think it scares people. This mark is his request of me.
The head starts to come closer till it's only about 10 feet away from you. You can feel this incredible cold radiating every time she breathes out. Doubtless, it will not be the last thing he asks of you.
I imagine not. He has helped us. We were running from the orc hunting party. He scared them away. I ask his help. He gives. He's the reason that we're still alive today. A lot of the time, things that he gives me to do, things that he's asked me to do, is for the betterment of myself.
Very well. You may take a diamond suitable for your purposes. You and your friends do not ask little of me. Normally, I would seek trade in return.
Well,
If you are set on this path, And you succeed? Then we shall consider the debt repaid. If you fail, you will be dead. And the debt will be forgotten.
I think I prefer the former.
As would I. Take with my blessing. But Cal, should you stray from this purpose, you will owe me.
I can guarantee you, after seeing my brother lying lifeless on your floor, this diamond will only ever be used to bring back one of my loved ones. And that's any one of these men that I travel with today.
I can tell that you believe that.
And I will pick up a diamond and bid her good night.
Rest well, Calibre Doomfist. And there's like an almost crunch sound as her head lays back down upon a large mound of gold coins.
And I run back down the stairs towards my bedroom.
Lucky son of a bitch.
I thought you were going to get eaten!
Big ass diamond in my bag.
So you got a diamond
Whoa.
worth 300 gold pieces.
I want an ass diamond.
Yeah, big ass diamond.
This one's
Just
not
an
quite
ass
as big as the one that you dug up for bringing Godric back. A little bit smaller than that, but that was a 500 gold diamond for point of reference.
Yes.
But yeah, you
Well,
have a
that-
diamond.
that's
Put it
massive
in
compared
my
to my
bag.
puny
I've actually put it
100
on my screen as a big ass diamond.
I mean,
Nice.
whatever helps you remember. But yeah, it's a 300 gold diamond, so it'll be good for a revivify spell, but that'll be all.
Yep, that is fine. That is exactly what I wanted it for.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to buy one. I mean, it's not like we haven't got the money to buy one, but
Well, no,
buy one when
it's
you've got a massive pile
We
of
can
them.
literally buy like 20.
well, it is that point of when might you next get the opportunity if you're
Yeah,
in a
there
hurry
is
to get back to Fanland. So no, it's fair. But yes, yeah, you managed to convince the dragon to let you have part of its hoard for seemingly nothing.
Fucking hell.
Technically, without my birthday roll, because that was shit.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
I
obviously,
think-
One at 20 on my stealth.
I think in any other circumstances, if the circumstances were any less than they are, you would have been looking at a much higher DC. But given everything stacking on top, I think 20 does it.
obviously as well, next time someone dies, we should try and make sure it's not the person who can cast Revivify.
It's okay, though, because if I die, Gotrek can cast Revivify, and I have the diamond on my person, therefore he can take the diamond from me and cast it. Yay!
Just as long as it's not Gotrek again next time. Okay, well,
It's
so
such irony. You go on.
as you
End
return
us-
to
end us
the return to the chamber and sneaking back in, taking yourself to bed, it doesn't take long for sleep to find you. It's been a long day, and yeah, it's just gone 11, so we will end tonight's session there. Whew, heavy RP one, guys. Thank you for bearing with it.
Essentially, a dinner conversation.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
sometimes a whole session is like just one combat. Sometimes it's one meal time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, well, I hope that was enjoyable. Dinner date with a dragon.
That's the name of this episode. Come on.
That is probably a good name
Come
for
down.
Come dine with a dragon.
Uh,
Some interesting little tidbits of information there.
yeah, I got very hyped to hear her talking about Zariel.
Oh yeah. Wow. Little peek into what might be going on there. Something to consider for the future. Anyway, yeah. For anyone who might be watching, I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, the RP sessions, they always stress me out. Shit, improper dragon. But But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope it's set the scene for things that may come later on. And we will leave you there for tonight and pick up next week with, as you begin your journey back to Phandalin. Good night.